This is a Global News special report, The Falcon's Edge. Good evening. Tonight, the flashpoint, Russia on high alert, as the United States and NATO allies officially begin training Ukrainian pilots on F-16 fighter jets. It's a move Kyiv has called essential for survival.
It's an attrition, and one that Moscow is calling colossal risk.
Any F-16 taking off from third-party countries will be considered
A direct escalation. Mark, let's cut to the chase. How much of this is rhetoric and how much is a real, tangible threat?
Oh, the threat is very real, Anna, but so is the training. What we're seeing isn't just about teaching pilots to fly.
It's about teaching them NATO doctrine, how to integrate with Western intelligence, targeting pods, and data links. It's complete.
Rewiring of an entire air force. They are moving from Soviet-era tactics to a 21st century NATO standard.
And that, presumably, is what has Russia on high alert.
We're not just talking about the planes, we're talking about the system.
Exactly, and that's why.
The MiG is...
We press, then you fight the plane. You are always fighting.
The F-16, you sure you have more exactly fly star? You just think. You think, and it does. It is an extension. It sees everything.
It sees everything.
That's the key, Anna. That's the data link. That's what has Russian S-400 crews.
And their command posts on high alert. The F-16, armed with HARM missiles or Storm Shadows, can hunt these systems in a way the old MiGs never could.
So a technological and tactical game changer. But what about the men being asked to master these machines in record time? When we return, inside the high-stakes, high-speed training program, and later, the red line. What happens if a NATO-trained pilot engages a Russian jet over? Welcome back to the Falcon's Edge. We're covering Russia's high alert as Ukrainian pilots race to master the F-16.
The first challenge wasn't the G-forces, Anna. It was English. You cannot fly, fight, or fix this jet without it.
A grueling process, condensed from years into months. These pilots are pushed to the absolute limit.
And they're not new pilots. They're combat veterans. They have to unlearn Soviet tactics that will get them killed in an F-16.
Every mistake here in the simulator is a lesson. A mistake in the skies over Ukraine is fatal.
But the real tension, the high alert you mentioned, isn't just about the jets. It's about where these jets will operate from.
This is the red line. Russia has stated that if these F-16s fly missions from bases inside NATO countries like Romania or Poland.
Legitimate targets, part of the conflict.
Mark, that is the clearest threat to NATO personnel we have heard.
It's a threat born from strategic fear. They know what this aircraft, integrated with NATO, can do. They are trying to deter
NATO from allowing these jets to be effective. Because if Ukraine gains even partial air superiority, the entire front line changes.
It puts NATO in a terrible position. Either base the jets in Ukraine where they are vulnerable, or base them in NATO.
and dare Russia to strike a NATO base. That is Article 5. That is a direct NATO-Russia war.
A war Russia is actively threatening. When we come back, we go inside the Kremlin's calculus. What is Putin's next move? Welcome back. We've seen the training, we've heard the threats. But to understand Russia's high alert,
you have to understand what the F-16 represents. It's not just a plane, it's a direct, U.S.-made challenge to Russia's air dominance.
I'm joined now by Dr. Elena Reed, author of Putin's Red Lines. Dr. Reed, how does the Kremlin see this? Is their threat to strike NATO bases a bluff or a promise? In their doctrine, it's both. It's about escalation dominance. They are signaling to NATO that the cost of using, it's a fear they are weaponizing. They know NATO fears nuclear escalation.
Right.
So they will use the threat of nuclear war
to deter a conventional action. This paradoxically shows how much they fear what the F-16 can do conventionally.
So a political strategy of nuclear blackmail. Mark, what is the military calculus? How does Russia actually fight an F-16?
The pristine runways. Russia will use its intelligence assets to find them, and then hit them with hypersonic missiles like the Kinjal.
There is almost no defense against it, so Ukraine's challenge will be constant dispersal. Move, fly, move again.
Second, they will hunt it in the air. This is what the Russian Air Force wants, a direct fight. Their Su-35 is a formidable opponent. It carries the R-37M, a very long-range missile. They will keep their jets in Russian airspace and snipe at the F-16s from a distance, forcing the Ukrainian pilots to fly defensively from the moment they take off.
But here's the F-16's advantage. It's not the jet, it's the network. It's connected to NATO AWACS, satellites, and intelligence.
The F-16 pilot will know where that Su-35 is long before the Russian pilot knows he's there. It's about first look, first shot.
So this high alert is a scramble on two fronts, a political scramble to deter NATO and a military scramble to counter this new network.
On the ground, Russia is repositioning its S-400 air defense batteries, trying to create kill zones where these F-16s will have to fly.
And in the air, they are keeping fighter interceptors on 24/7 combat air patrol, ready to strike.
But this entire high-stakes battle may not be decided by the pilots, but by the ground crews when we return. Welcome back. While the pilots get the glory, Russia's high alert may be focused on a different target, the ground crews.
An F-16 is a finely tuned instrument. A MiG-29 is a hammer. The MiGs were built to operate from rough, unprepared
fields. The F-16 has one massive, low-slung air intake. It's a vacuum cleaner for rocks, gravel, and debris.
We call it FOD. One tiny stone sucked into that engine can destroy a multi-million-dollar turbine. It grounds the jet for weeks.
Preventing that is the job of men like Petro, a maintenance chief with the Ukrainian Air Force.
We work around the clock. Failure is not an option.
Це інша філософія. З мігом ти використовуєш ключ. Тут ти використовуєш ноутбук.
І?
Мітлу.
Before every flight, we walk the entire runway. Every meter. We sweep. We search. One man's carelessness
can ground a pilot, and we do all this, we make it perfect, then a Russian missile hits the runway. And we start again.
An incredible challenge. But Mark, it's not just about the runways, it's the spare parts. These are 40-year-old jets.
Yeah, exactly. They're flying these jets hard, far harder than in peacetime. They are burning through engine hours, airframe life, and components.
This creates a massive logistical tail that stretches from warehouses in Arizona through Poland into Ukraine.
Actively hunting. Russia knows it doesn't have to shoot down the jet if it can destroy the single spare part it needs to fly.
We have a saying, one flies, two wait. We need parts. Always we need parts. Sometimes we must take from one plane to make this one fly.
And this is where the red line we discussed gets blurry.
Petro's team wasn't trained alone.
These are the foreign specialists the Kremlin mentioned. They aren't soldiers, they're contractors. But to Russia.
Any foreign specialists servicing them will be considered part of the conflict, a legitimate target.
That distinction is irrelevant. By targeting them, Russia can cripple the F-16 fleet and kill Western citizens, all while maintaining a thin veil of plausible deniability. It's hybrid warfare. They are forcing NATO to risk its own citizens' lives to keep these jets flying. So the maintenance hangars, the supply depots, and the foreign contractors are not just a target, they are the primary target. It's a war of logistics, and Russia is betting it can break Ukraine's logistical back.
Kinzhal launch detected. Impact 90 seconds.
Before the F-16s can even get in the fight.
Status! Is anyone hurt? We are okay. The hangar.
That is the reality, a nightly war of attrition fought not just by pilots, but by technicians with flashlights and brooms under the threat of hypersonic missiles.
Russia is on high alert because it's in a race. It's betting it can destroy these jets on the ground faster than NATO can train the pilots and ship the spare parts.
A high-stakes gamble with global consequences, as Russia remains on high alert. The first generation of NATO-trained Ukrainian pilots are preparing to fly into the storm.
A new phase of the war has begun. Thank you for joining our special report, The Falcon's Edge.
The jet! Check the jet!
Shrapnel. Hydraulics. She's not flying.
Get the lights, get the diagnostic kit, and get me the list for the replacement parts.
Now! We work!
That single strike is Russia's high alert in action. One missile, no pilots engaged, and an F-16 is out of the fight. It brings us to the final critical question. For all the training, all the risk, and all the cost, is the F-16 a true game changer? Politically, it already is. It's the ultimate symbol of NATO's commitment. It proves that the red lines Russia drew were illusions. Its arrival forced Moscow to react. That is the definition of changing the game. But a political victory doesn't stop a tank.
Mark, militarily.
Is it a silver bullet?
No, there are no silver bullets in this war. But the F-16 is a vital shield. It's the only platform that can effectively counter
Russia's glide bombs. Those bombs are their silver bullet. The F-16, with its radar and long-range missiles, can push those bombers back.
If it forces those bombers back 50 kilometers, it saves lives and gives the soldiers on the ground a chance to hold the line.
It's not about winning the war from the air. It's about not losing it from the air. That's the real impact.
A war of attrition, a high-stakes political gamble, and a race against time.
The experts, they talk of strategy. I am not a strategist. I am a pilot. My job is to give the man in the trench one more day, so he can go home. That is all.
Russia's high alert continues, a response to a new and potent threat. A threat being met by a new generation of pilots. And an iron-willed ground crew holding the line.
The training is official. The F-16s are in play. The red lines have been crossed. And now, as Russia and NATO stare each other down, the only question that matters is, what happens next?
In response to the Russian threat, NATO's eyes in the sky also remain vigilant, watching from the safety of Allied airspace.
We need more pressure on the actuator.
Torquing it now.
Make sure the reading is stable.
Lift engaging. Clear the pylon.
Aligned. Locking mechanism engaged.
Checks complete. Missile is hot.
The Russian Air Force continues its relentless patrols, the primary instrument of the state's high alert status.